Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Hello and welcome, everyone. You are tuning in to another empowering episode of Beyond the Scale, where we dive deep into the world of health, wellness, and living your best life. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm a passionate believer in the transformative power of the ketogenic lifestyle, coming to you with all of the hope and inspiration you need to embark on a journey towards a healthier you.
And I'm Coach Darcy, your co-host, here to explore the nitty-gritty of nutrition, wellness, and the science behind making lasting changes. Together, we're a dynamic duo dedicated to supporting you through every step of your health journey.
Today, we've got a special episode lined up for you. We are breaking down a topic that touches millions of lives around the globe, diabetes. But we're not just talking about what it is. We're diving into the types, the impact, and most importantly, how adopting a ketogenic lifestyle can be a game changer in managing and sometimes even reversing this condition.
That's right, Monica. From the misunderstood type 1 to the widely prevalent type 2 and the emerging concept of type 3 diabetes, we are covering it all. And let's not forget, we'll be sharing some incredible success stories, the latest in the treatment innovations, and we'll be answering why the ketogenic lifestyle could be your best ally.
Whether you're personally affected, know someone who is, or are just here to soak up some knowledge, we are thrilled to have you with us. So let's get started and uncover the knowledge, the power, the lifestyle changes, and a little bit of hope in combating this disease. Welcome, Coach. I am so glad you are here today on this rainy Thursday.
It's a rainy day.
Oh,
sure.
It is absolutely raining here while we're recording this. So if by chance we are cut out, we're going to just pinch this thing together when we do our editing, and hopefully we'll have a whole show today. So we just felt like it was really important for us to break down one of the most common, most deadly diseases that we have right here in America. Now, we want to preface the fact that we are not doctors and we don't play one on the internet. There are so many things that you can learn on your own on this topic, but we want to touch on this topic because everything we do as health coaches revolves around this. And we have seen so many victory stories when it comes to watching these. I believe it's Dr. Barry that says diseases of human civilization, diseases that we can see reversed. And so we just felt like we were going to take a show and just kind of break down in simplicity some of the things that we have learned as coaches along the way. But we also want to tell you that if you want to learn more, we're going to give you some resources that you can dive deep into your own research because, my friends, the doctors are not doing it for you. The doctors are here for sick care. Most doctors, let me preface, most doctors are here for sick care and they're ready to hand you a pill every time you want. But there are things that you can do on your own to reverse some of these diseases that we have caused. And so we're here today. We're going to have a lighthearted show. It's not going to be serious. It's not going to be very sciencey because that's not who we are. If you want to learn the science, let us refer you to Dr. Robert Lustig's book, Metabolical. If you want to get down into the nitty gritty, and some of you are, I love the science. You know, you and I love it. Yeah. But retaining that science and reverberating it back to our audience, that's not for me. Right? It kind of brings me back to when we were in elementary school, right?
Yeah, we know how to dumb it down.
That's what we want to do. We want to dumb
Yes.
this thing down
Yes.
because we want to make it simple for you to understand. I was shocked when I was studying this topic. I was shocked at the prevalence of diabetes and insulin resistance and the new named type 3 diabetes. I was shocked at the amount. I knew that the majority of our clients struggled with this, but I didn't realize worldwide. Did you know that 1 out of 10 people have a form of diabetes in the United States?
That's crazy.
That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And can you hear what's going on behind me?
Wow, are you okay?
Well, it is a little green outside, and the
Okay.
sirens are going off. And by golly, we're going to record this podcast.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna get
Why
it
not?
done.
If your roof gets off of your house, it's fine.
As
We're gonna
long as I
record
have
this.
my microphone, we're going on with the show, no matter the sirens behind us.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. What is crazy? What is another statistic that is absolutely crazy is, did you know we are number 1 in diabetes in this nation? That's the number 1 disease.
It's sad.
Crazy. Followed by, this is even crazier, and this breaks my heart because we have loved ones who are impacted by this, but we're number 2 when it comes to Alzheimer's. That is really, really sad. That is what's called type 3 diabetes. And number 5 being cancer. Those are the number 1 diseases that we are dealing and wrestling with in the United States. Crazy.
That is sad and crazy. And you think with all the monies that we put into
We have
you
the
know,
best
the research, it's
We have the best hospitals. We have the best medications. We are the best at all of this, and yet our disease is skyrocketing when it comes to these things. It's just so sad. Diabetics are 4 times more likely to develop dementia than the general population. That is scary. And I'm getting to the age, and I'm 48 years old, so I'm kind of getting to the age of, okay, I'm thinking about my mental well-being. I'm thinking about, my goodness, could I be impacted by dementia?
Right.
I get scared when I go out to the kitchen and I forgot why I went out there.
You're right. That happens to me now.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So it was
I was
worse
gonna say,
before.
that's-
It
I
was
think we're
worse
normal.
before, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
it's absolutely
Yeah.
normal.
But the fact of the matter is, we are the sickest and the worst when it comes to these diseases than we ever have been, and yet we have the best of everything. And so that tells us that something is wrong.
Right.
When we have the most expensive drugs, the best hospital, and the top doctors, what is wrong? Is it our medicine, or is it our food? Do we hold the answers in our hands without even knowing it? Or for some of us, we do know it, and we just would rather have these foods and these processed foods.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So,
And I remember reading how this all kind of began, and I think that the numbers started to increase in the 1950s. But I'm rereading by Dr. Lustig that it actually began in the 1970s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it did. Which was what? What was happening in the 1970s?
Oh, well, I don't want to talk about that. I wasn't born yet.
You baby. Oh my goodness.
But that's where the years of the processed foods were being introduced to our diets. Like, even I believe, wasn't it the low fat world?
The low fat. Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
in
where
the
it started.
commercials, I remember, the commercials for, you don't, of
don't
these
even.
fancy cereals, these, it was the years of the processed foods, the years of the convenience foods, started to happen. And then what we're finding is, after this happened, suddenly we have a prevalence of Alzheimer's. We have a prevalence of insulin resistance. We have all of these things start to pop up. So let's talk about 4 things. Okay. I want to talk about the different kinds of diabetes. I want to talk about the beast of it all. I call it the grim reaper.
Yes.
But do you want to start us out by talking about a topic that we as coaches don't necessarily cover when it comes to helping our, in our wellness practice? You want to start by talking about type 1?
Yeah, so type 1 diabetes is, an autoimmune condition where the body attacks insulin producing beta cells in the pancreas.
Hmm.
And this is one where this type is required to take insulin, and because his body can't produce it.
Yeah, the body's broken.
It's broken. So, it's one of those things where we can't really touch that, because I think that there's people, I feel like scientists and researchers don't know the exact cause of this
Yeah.
autoimmune response.
Yeah, they're
And
born. It's a inborn
yeah, it's
thing.
not fully
Right.
understood yet. We don't
Yeah.
know if it's genetics or if it's even environmental factors.
Yeah, there's not a lot known
Yeah.
about that. Now, there are people who have almost turned it around with the ketogenic lifestyle. So the keto lifestyle does help type 1 diabetics. We personally don't get into that because there's a certain way. You mess up on that thing and it's pretty serious. So we particularly only take type 2 and insulin resistance and we do those. We do not take type 1 clients. But there's a woman, it's Ask Nurse Cindy's daughter. Rachel, she has type 1, and actually I think they had another family member, and she has completely controlled her type 1 diabetes with the ketogenic lifestyle.
That's amazing.
You just have to be very cognizant of your numbers. You have to be cognizant of your keto numbers. All of those things have to align. And so it's all good for that. We just choose not to do that. But I want to talk about the Grim Reaper, okay? Because in order to talk about type 2, in order to talk about, Alzheimer's, in order to talk about all of the metabolic issues, we have to talk about the Grim Reaper. And this kind of annoys me because a lot of people, there's not very many people who won't raise their hand and say, "Oh, Monica, I'm insulin resistant." Okay. It's almost like it's a passé. It's almost like it's just a given that I'm insulin resistant. It is what it is. Some people are on medication, but it's almost a thing of I don't care.
Right.
If people understood the importance of the Grim Reaper and the fact that insulin resistance is the backbone of all metabolic diseases, of all of this death that it brings, if we understood the impact of curing it, reversing it before it turned into all of those diseases, we would be on top of it right now. And so it is my hope through this podcast that people understand the dangers of being insulin resistant, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going to go through a couple of the signs, but basically insulin resistance is when the cells in your body don't respond well to insulin anymore. Insulin is like a key. Okay, if you picture this with me, insulin is like a key that lets sugar or glucose enter the cells from the blood to be used for energy. So insulin is not the bad guy. A lot of times we say, because we say a lot, in the presence of insulin, you cannot lose weight, which is the case. But insulin is not the bad guy. If we didn't have insulin, we would die. Okay.
In your case, can I just say this? In your case, it stores energy for a rainy day.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
It does. I said that because in your case, you're having a rainy
literally
day.
around me, it's a rainy day. We're talking about insulin. Exactly.
Going cheesy. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Couldn't resist.
It's the truth. I have no idea what's happening around me. I kind of wish I knew in case I needed to take our podcast to the basement. So if you're thinking about this key analysis, okay, the example, when cells resist insulin's help, sugar can't get into them as easily. So this means we've got extra sugar levels in the blood. This is where diabetes comes in, okay? So it usually comes about from a combination of factors. Number one, being overweight. Okay, especially with the excess fat around the waist. A lot of times people wonder what insulin resistance looks like. It looks kind of like what's called the beer belly for men or the tire around the middle for women. Okay. Yeah. Not being active, eating a diet high in sugars and refined carbs. Sometimes, genetics does play a role. So that's why your doctor says, do you have this in your past? But over time, this resistance can cause damage, like making your pancreas work harder to make more insulin, which leads to type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. Can also increase your risk of heart disease and stroke, because higher sugar levels can harm your arteries and other parts of your body. So it all starts at ground zero with this grim reaper called insulin resistance. So Darcy, I would like you to take us through, because we're going to do a little science here.
Yeah.
When I first started my journey, Renee, who taught me the ketogenic lifestyle, I just wanted to lose weight. Like, I just
Right.
wanted to lose weight. And I'm like, Renee,
Most
just tell me.
people do.
She's
Yeah.
like, but Monica, do you know what the pancreas does? And I'm like, I don't give a rip what the pancreas does. Just tell me what to eat. And most of our clients are the same way.
It's
They
so
just
true.
want to know what to eat. They don't
Yep.
care about the pancreas. But if we don't understand what the pancreas and what insulin responses do, we don't know what it looks like when it's all gone wrong and when it just sets off a domino effect of disease. And so you take us through the normal response, what happens
Okay.
with the insulin, and then I'm gonna take it a step further, and I'm gonna tell you what insulin resistance looks like. Okay.
So your normal insulin response would be like when you eat your food, you eat something that contains carbohydrates like bread, fruit, or vegetables. Then what happens is your blood sugar naturally rises.
Mm-hmm.
The carbs break down into sugars, or known as glucose, which enters your bloodstream. And then from there, your blood sugar level goes up.
Yeah.
Again, natural
Naturally.
response.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when your blood sugar goes up, we're not panicking. That's a
No,
natural thing
this
that
is
happens.
what it's supposed
Okay.
to do.
Gotcha.
And then your insulin release. Your pancreas senses the rise in your blood sugar and releases insulin, a hormone. I believe it's a protein hormone, as I was learning
Yeah.
recently,
Yeah.
because it's a protein. So then the sugar to energy, that this is what's going to happen is that sugar to energy,
Mhm.
the insulin acts like a key that opens the door into your body cells, allowing the sugar to enter into them.
Mhm.
Then the sugar is then used for that energy that
For
we
energy,
need.
right.
Yeah. Yep. And then after that, your blood sugar then normalizes. So we talk about that natural increase. Then we have that natural decrease in where it's leveling out. So as the sugar leaves the bloodstream and enters the cells, your blood sugar then goes back down to
Yeah.
normal where it should be. This
Yeah.
is your normal cycle.
And if you've heard of the term glycemic index, that is usually labeled from 0 to 100. And each food is assigned to a number. So the higher the number, the higher the sugar impact to your body. So this is why I get so angry with our politicians for labeling maltodextrin as sugar-free when the glycemic index is like 132 compared to 65 as a normal sugar. So all of those different numbers are related to how high your sugar spikes and how long your sugar stays spiked. So let's talk a little bit about insulin resistance. What does it look like when this process goes wrong and your body can no longer handle it? So when you eat food, I'm going to take you on the same journey that Darcy just took us. When you eat food, just like before, you eat foods with a high glycemic index or carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. So your body breaks down these carbs into sugar and your blood sugar level increases. Same thing that Darcy just talked about, right?
Yep.
However, here's where the problem is. Your insulin hits a struggle bus. Your pancreas releases the insulin, but here's the catch. The cells in your body are no longer responding well to it anymore, and they don't let the sugar in as easily. So that key process is broken. So what happens? Your sugar stays in the bloodstream. Because the sugar isn't getting into the cells like it should, it stays in your blood sugar, and your blood sugar remains high. This makes the pancreas work even harder. So your pancreas is like, well, crap, I got to go fix all this stuff. And it tries to fix the problem by making even more insulin. It's like, I'm going to force feed you this insulin. We got to get insulin into your cells. And so it's hoping and praying some of those cells respond. And your cells are like, no way. And so it's an ongoing cycle. Over time, this cycle of resistance and overproduction of insulin can lead to higher blood sugar levels and health issues like prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. And then it's going to go into the things that we talk about next with all of those diseases of human civilization. somebody said to me, it was, if you imagine a teacup, I need visuals, right? I
Yes.
really struggle with, seeing some of these things that Dr. Lustig talks about. I'm like, oh, and in fact, before the show, I just sent you this video. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful picture of the liver, right?
Yes. Yes.
I need those things. So if you think of a teacup, a teacup full of tea. So you got this beautiful little teacup and it's all full of tea. And you're like, you have a pitcher of more tea and you pour the pitcher into the already full cup. It's overflowing. Too much tea, right? It's
Yes.
overflowing. Your cells
You
can't
must have
handle
watched
anymore.
you must have watched my commercial I made that was about a teacup and
It was pretty
water
good.
being poured into it.
Totally good. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so true though.
Yeah. So when insulin can effectively get sugar out of the blood and into the cells, here's what starts to happen. Now we got to talk about some really dark stuff. So when
Yeah.
your insulin is working so hard, your pancreas is doing what it was made to do, and you have had so many carbohydrates for so long, this is what happens. So you want to start us on the journey of what
Yes.
happens?
So, and I see this through some of my clients that are also, struggling with diabetics or diabetes or on the verge, pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
And this is high blood sugar levels. And this is when the glucose stays in your bloodstream and it leads to high blood sugar levels, also known as hyperglycemia. Over
Yeah.
time, this can cause various health problems.
Very. You
Yes.
remember I was telling the story one time of the time I was sitting at my campus university. I was working and I was seeing spots. I couldn't see things.
Right.
That was what was happening. Was I was starting the effects of prediabetes and it was impacting my eyes. A lot of people, when they have diabetes and they go into full stage, they lose their feet because the receptors in their feet, and they have major struggles. And so this is a very, very serious thing. Again, a lot of my pet peeve that are the pill pushing doctors who don't mention anything that this can be reversed any other way than pills. And
Right.
so people live for 10 years with this thing that can be reversed before it goes into full-fledged type 2 diabetes, and and then it's even harder, and then they struggle. And so you feel tired. You feel tired because the glucose can't enter the cells, and so they don't get the energy that they need. The cells can't function properly. The pancreas is overworked, and so it tries to compensate by producing more, leading to higher levels of insulin in the blood. And by the way, for our weight loss clients, in the presence of insulin, you cannot lose weight. This is why the women that we work with have a tire around the middle. That's why I had a tire around my middle. If you look at my before and after pictures, you can see the insulin resistance right there. And that was the last thing to go, by the way. You can heal insulin resistance. You can heal it by your diet.
Right.
But that's one of the signs. Skin tags is another sign of insulin resistance.
Right.
And so if this insulin resistance persists, the pancreas may eventually become unable to produce insulin. And this is why our type 2 friends have to take insulin, because they have overworked their pancreas so much by the things that they're eating that they no longer have a working pancreas.
So on top of that, you were talking about some certain symptoms, like you were talking about you were seeing spots, and then you were talking about the skin tags. Some other symptoms and complications that you can identify is persistent high blood sugar, and that which can lead to symptoms that increase things like thirst, frequent urination, fatigue, like you said, like the blurred vision. Long-term complications can include heart disease and maybe some nerve damage, kidney damage, eye problems, and there's so much more than that. Like, you think of those people that have had to have their limbs amputated because of this. It just makes my heart sad thinking, this could have just been prevented.
It could have been prevented. Exactly.
Yep.
The risk of developing type 2 diabetes is so prevalent when it comes to insulin resistance. It is the major risk factor for the development of this. If blood sugars remain high and the body continues to struggle with insulin effectiveness, the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes may follow, and probably will follow. Insulin also helps regulate fat storage. So when fat cells resist insulin signals, the body ends up storing more fat, particularly in the abdomen. This leads to weight gain and an increase of metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. The Grim Reaper, insulin resistance, is pretty much responsible for all of this metabolic stuff. Alzheimer's, type 2, all of those, heart disease, inflammation. You want to talk a little bit about inflammation?
Yeah, so high insulin and blood sugar levels can lead to an increased inflammation in the body, and contributing to a cycle that exasperates insulin resistance and can lead to other health issues, including cardiovascular. I can't even say that.
Cardiovascular.
Cardiovascular disease.
Yeah,
That
heart
was a tough
disease.
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
inflammation is a
Yeah.
booger when it comes
Yeah.
to our clients getting better.
Yes.
Inflammation is the root disease. It's the root of all of those diseases. And
Aches,
so
pains, yeah.
insulin resistance is a massive component to the inflammatory diseases that are out there. Let's specifically dive into type 2 diabetes because it is growing so rapidly. And
Yes.
again, can we just stop and say all of this is preventable? All of this can be reversed. We
But
have
what if it's
seen,
in your genes, Monica?
if it's in your genes, 85% where did I see that statistic? I sent it to you late last night. Like 85% of the diseases, of all of these human made diseases, are caused by the environment. 15% is caused by genetics.
88%.
88%. Is that in Dr. Lustig's book?
Oh no, that was insulin resistance. That was another one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, go get
Yes.
the book by Dr. Robert Lustig
Yeah.
called Metabolical. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
But that's what he was talking about was it was about, and I know the 15% was right. 15% is
Yes.
genetics.
Yes.
And 85, it's insanity. It's just insanity to know that we have the cure for this. We are holding it. But the problem is we have become so addicted to convenience foods, to processed food addictions, and to sugar that we are willing to trade our health for that momentary yum in our mouth. You know, or the frustration that we actually have to make our own food, that we
Right.
are not getting those pre-packaged,
So inconvenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's inconvenient now, but when you are looking at your foot being removed because you are now suffering from diabetes, it is going to be much harder post treatment than it is to put down the processed food, right?
Right.
So type 2 diabetes, the definition, I'm just going to read the definition here. It begins as insulin resistance. They are saying it's 10 years before. So if you are dealing with, and a lot of people do this, a lot of people in my social media, and it just annoys the crap out of me. They are like, oh yes, I have. It's almost humorous to people because they don't need medication yet. They just know, oh yeah, I've got insulin resistance. Ha ha. You know, truly, go over to my page and you'll see these people. It's like, I'm not kidding. It's like, oh yeah, I have insulin resistance. You know, no problem. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the Grim Reaper. You have this about 10 years before you get that official diagnosis. People laugh and they make light of it until they get the official diagnosis, which is type 2, or which is PCOS, which is heart disease, which is all of these things. And then suddenly I've got to reverse 20 years of my life, and try to undo the poison that I've caused within, in order for them to live. So type 2 begins as insulin resistance. It begins as that, where cells don't respond to insulin efficiently. Over time, the pancreas cannot keep up with the increased demand for insulin, leading to high blood sugar levels. It's insane. If you let insulin resistance go, it's going to turn into type 2 diabetes.
The thing that gets me is that, we are setting our future up for like, oh, when I hit this age, I'm bound to have this.
Yes,
Or
right.
I am going to have high blood pressure medicine. Or we've already made ourselves have a certain age.
Yeah.
That
We've normalized it.
Yes, we've normalized all of this. So, and then just think about, oh, did then all of the money that you worked and paid into the state in the country, all this
Yeah.
money that you've put aside for your Social Security, like you're going to put all that stuff towards medication for yourself, then,
Right.
right?
Right. What
Like
if we
that's
decided
the cost of it.
What if we decided we didn't have to live like that, and that our golden years could be the best ones of our lives without medication? What if we had that attitude? What if we realized that if you choose to eat the ketogenic way of living, you could reverse that?
Yeah. You know that phrase, YOLO. You only live once.
You only live once. Yeah.
But here's the thing, like people young are like using YOLO, like you only live once, so you might as well do it. You might as well eat like this. But you're not going to live very long by doing that.
Long. No.
You only live once, but you want to live a long, healthy life.
Yeah.
Once you hit that YOLO, you only live once in your 40s or then to your 50s.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be living it up because you're not going to be able to move. You're not going to be
drooling in a nursing home is what you're going to be doing.
That's what you're going to do. So when you think of that, right, exactly.
And that's why it annoys me so much to see.
There's your soapbox.
I got my soapbox out.
You got to warn me before you get it out because I jump every time.
So yesterday, TikTok was banned.
Oh,
have I ever told you how? Have I ever told you how annoyed I am? Yeah, I'm telling you. Keep up, sister.
Sorry.
Our politicians cannot agree on feeding the veterans that fight for our country. They can't agree on our healthcare system. They can't agree on the sky is blue. But all of them in the House of Representatives can come together to ban TikTok. That was their moment of fame yesterday. Don't get me started. Oh, yeah, it's annoying.
I'll talk to you later about this.
It's annoying.
Oh, my. Okay.
Idiots. Are we allowed to say that on a podcast? I'm sorry, but there's much more critical things to worry about. But on TikTok, I am on TikTok, and I do use that as a platform to get our health message out. But what annoys me about other health coach, air quote, health coaches is the you can eat anything you want factor.
Yes.
That was a really long way around that story, but I was really annoyed with our politicians.
It was a really tall soapbox.
It was really tall. I'm annoyed with them. They can't do anything worth anything, but they can come in and they can ban an app because of China. Well, it has to go to the Senate, so nobody panic yet, but it has to go to the Senate, but I'm annoyed by it. But frankly, folks, you can't eat anything you want. You just can't. Not for healthy sake. The ketogenic lifestyle, we choose to live this because we want to fix our metabolic issues. We want to live longer. We want to have our brain cells intact. We want to have a healthy lifestyle, right? And so when you live the ketogenic lifestyle, the choices that you make, the foods choices that you make determine your insulin response. That's why we've gotten rid of processed foods. That's why we've gotten rid of the sugars, all of the white crap. We've gotten rid of that because if you do that, it improves your insulin sensitivity. It improves your process, your insulin response, and you will not have those insulin resistant moments where you can't handle any more insulin, right?
Yes.
So that's why when we have had, what is the average time when we get a type 2 diabetic? What is the average time where we have them off their medication with the help of their doctor?
I'm going to say that you can see a difference probably between 2 weeks and even 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
Yeah, it's really, really fast.
It's really fast. And if anything, it's just like any type of medicine or even when we talk about the shot, this is the disclaimer. Don't just stop taking it because you choose to stop taking it. You need to have that consult with your doctor. Yeah, you need to know how to ease yourself off of it.
And tell the doctor, say, you know what? I know I have an A1C issue. I know I have a sugar issue. I want to change this with my food lifestyle.
Yes.
Give me a shot. And I've never had a doctor say, nope, medication now. They'll give you 6 months to reverse this. And you can. When we come back, I want to talk about a really sad topic. It's really gray out this side today, so this is a good day to talk about it. Yeah. Hopefully you don't have any tornadoes like I almost did. But we're going to talk about something sad, and yet what if we could reverse this? what if we could reverse this for our parents' generation?
Mm-hmm.
For my generation, I'm 11 years older than you. What if we could reverse what we're going to talk about when we come back? But first, let's hear from our sponsor, which is ourself. We're new to this whole podcasting arena here, but we do want you to know that we are here for you, and that when you get tired enough of being sick and tired, come to us, and we're gonna walk you through 3 months of a life-changing, life-altering journey that can reverse these things, that can shed the weight, that can reverse these diseases of human civilization. We'll be right back. Are you tired of those pounds that just won't come off? Are you ready for a real change? Dive into KM Health Coaching's signature weight loss program and start transforming your relationship with food and your body today. In just 3 months, you can shed those stubborn pounds and break free from emotional eating. With personalized coaching, a supportive community, and our breakthrough technology, you're set for success. Imagine weekly sessions tailored just for you, a group system where you can grow together, and technology that tracks every triumph. It's all here at KM Health Coaching. Now, exclusively for Beyond the Scale listeners, use code Beyond the Scale for $25 off. Start your journey to healing and happiness right now. Visit us, use the code Beyond the Scale, and embark on your wellness journey with KM Health Coaching's signature weight loss program. Your new beginning starts right now. All right, welcome back, everybody. If you need our help, please reach out to us. Go to our website, click on the coach that you would like, and book an appointment.
Yes.
We really prefer that you book a health assessment before you sign up for a program, because we want to make sure that you're in the right program. So I want to talk about what is being called now as a type 3 diabetes, and that is Alzheimer's. It is the most sad, the most difficult, that, in my opinion, it's just the most difficult disease that I think somebody could have. And I know that's not, it's just really, really sad.
Yeah.
And what they're finding, here's the good news. What they're finding is Alzheimer's is a type of diabetes. It impacts the brain. It impacts, it's caused by insulin resistance. They're finding more and more. The correlation between insulin resistance and Alzheimer's is absolutely astounding. So we know that you can reverse insulin resistance. Why not do that before our loved ones get older? Why not do that? 30 million people worldwide have Alzheimer's, and if this number holds steady, it doubles every 20 years. This is astounding.
Wow.
It's absolutely astounding.
Mm.
The cost, we were talking about this earlier, the cost is $290 billion just for Alzheimer's alone, for dementia. And the root of this disease is insulin resistance. That's not something to take lightly, folks. That is not something to take lightly.
Can I get on my soapbox for a second?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I won't pull mine out.
Okay,
very far out.
I didn't put it back.
You know, the thing that makes me just have frustration and anger towards is the fact of what we are feeding those that do have this disease. You know, and it is something that, you know, we're just gonna give them this diabetic type of meals, but it's not okay. Like, it's not helping it.
No,
it's not helping their heads have clarity. It's, you know, spiking their insulin. It just makes me just roll over and over and over, be like, why are we feeding them this?
It is maddening.
Let's give them all the candy. Let's give them all the sweets. Let's, you know,
crackers, breads, all the cheap stuff. Let's throw it at the elderly and let's just feed this disease. Let me read something. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs out of a book called Why We Get Sick. And this was really haunting to me. It said, humans with Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive impairment who follow a low carbohydrate, high fat diet show improved cognitive function. Hello? My
Yeah.
gosh. Interesting,
What?
however, the brain doesn't actually use the fat. When we eat fat as our primary macronutrient, the liver metabolizes more fat than it needs, and the extra fats become ketones. In the study just mentioned, the people with the largest increase in ketones had the greatest improvement. Another study explored the similar dietary effect in 10 subjects, all with varying levels of Alzheimer's related cognitive decline. In fact, several either had quit their jobs or were suffering professionally due to the disease. Here's what they did. They ate low carb, high fat diet, fasted 12 hours each night to increase the ketogenesis, and took coconut oil, which
Mm.
is more ketogenic than other fats. Here's the good news. All improved their cognitive function and were able to return to work or improve their performance there. The benefits persisted even at the follow-up almost 3 years later. Hello. If this
Right.
is not if this is not enough for you to say, my gosh, I'm pulling my mother off of the sugar and the
Right.
processed refined carbs, I don't know what is.
Right.
If I
Can I?
had a loved one, this is what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was going to say I'm also reading. I have way too many books that I'm reading right now.
I know. It gets
And this
overwhelming.
one is The Big Fat Surprise by Nina I don't Teckles, I think is her name.
Okay.
But she has a lot of historical type of information that she brings up, and how we got to where we are today based on people's research. She mentioned that this guy did his research, and he spent a year in Alaska or with the Eskimos, and he ate what they ate, how they ate.
Right.
They would forage for, the berries come springtime, and they would have that, but they'd be basically living off eggs. And then
Mm-hmm.
during the winter time, they'd be living off of the fat and all from the
Yeah.
fish and the hunt that they have gathered. And he talked about how, even with the Native American culture as well. You didn't go into the Native American village and see a 95-year-old that was just weak and feeble and wasn't able to move,
Yeah.
but was actually doing just as much, if
Yeah.
not more, than the younger men.
Yeah.
So just the fact that the elderly were not really elderly.
Mm-hmm.
That 95 was nothing
Yeah. Was that in the
because of
Blue
the way
Zone? Was that in the Blue Zone documentary that was just out? That was another one.
I
It's just
know.
similar things. They went to the places in the world where people lived the longest,
Yeah, yeah,
and these
yes.
old people were not feeble. They were not
No,
in the nursing home
they
because
did
they're
not
eating.
have diseases.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing. No.
So why does our food matter? I mean, all of this can be controlled by what we put in our mouth. And for
Mhm.
us, because we've studied the science of the ketogenic lifestyle, keto is not just a weight loss diet. It's not a
Right.
fad diet. It is actually a metabolic healer. And I know sometimes when we have these symptoms that we can mask over with pills, we're not as worried about our health because we're having that masking. We'd rather be on metformin because we don't have to do the hard things,
Yeah.
right? But the
Right.
ketogenic lifestyle is way more than diet.
Right.
It is a thing that enhances. We want to enhance our insulin sensitivity. So when we lower those carbohydrates, lower our sugar, it increases our insulin sensitivity.
So, Coach, what happens if somebody brings to you? Well, I believe in eating all the fruits and vegetables because God made them,
Mm-hmm.
and what is your response to that?
Well,
Because
I have a couple of responses. Number one,
yeah,
when God made some of these fruits and vegetables, He didn't make them with the GMO factors and the genetically modified factors. The apples back when God made them, were little tiny. They didn't have the insulin
they have
impact,
the
but
sugars.
didn't
Yeah.
have the sugars. The banana nowadays compared to the bananas that were created, originally created, completely different things. So well, you can't ignore the science. The science says when I have a sweet pineapple or a Honeycrisp apple, that insulin spike is is much greater than when I go with the berries, the lower glycemic fruits. Now, do
Yeah.
I ever, eventually or every once in a while have some of those things? Yeah. When I took a trip to Hawaii, I did. I very carefully and mindfully ate a pineapple, or
You didn't eat the whole thing,
I didn't
right?
eat the whole thing, right? I was very mindful. So those things do matter to what we put. Is an apple better than a Snickers bar? Yes, with the nutrients in it. Yes, it's a fiber packed. What do they call those fiber packed? Oh, I forget what they called that, but it's full of fiber versus a Snickers bar that's made with corn syrup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Right.
different, but the glycemic impact, you still have a glycemic impact with an apple. You
Yeah.
do.
Right.
So we always want you to consult with your healthcare provider. If you have a healthcare provider who does not believe in this kind of healing, maybe it's time to find a different healthcare provider because they are out there. We have seen so many benefits and so many clients completely reverse their diseases. There are diseases of human civilization. We have seen A1Cs. A1Cs go down within weeks on the program. We have seen our clients come off of all their medication. You don't have to be strapped to the doctor with a pill pusher. You don't have to be. You can reverse this stuff on your own.
Yeah.
We encourage you, as always, to work with your doctor. If your doctor is not working with you, maybe it's time to find a new doctor.
Yeah.
Um,
Can can I talk a little bit more about the neurological health part? I know we've been
Yeah.
pinpointing a lot on that, but I just recall for me in my journey, I was one that struggled with remembering things even in my
Mm-hmm.
childhood. And I know there's other deeper issues with that your brain can like do to
Yeah.
block certain
Yeah.
memories that we don't need.
Right.
But I struggled in school because I didn't retain things very well. Thinking about going back to what my diet was back as a younger kid, like it makes sense to me why I struggled mentally trying to retain the things and to remember what I was supposed to do. And I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
As I got older, I started becoming very concerned about myself because I was not remembering. I mean, I know a lot of us moms can relate to this, walking into a room not knowing why we got up in the first place to go into this room, but there was something in this room that we needed. So I started to be proactive in using supplements before I even changed my lifestyle, my health style change. So
Yeah.
I was doing things like ginkgo, and I was like eating all of these supplements, and those are exactly what they are. They're supplements.
Mm-hmm.
They're supplementing the nutrients that our body should have to begin with. But it helped a little bit. But let me tell you, when I switched over to this ketogenic lifestyle, there is this unexplainable clarity in the
Mm-hmm.
mind that is like you can't really explain it unless you experience it yourself.
Yeah.
It's that I remember what I'm doing. Now, if I
Mm-hmm.
am also not getting enough sleep or if I have too much stress, then things start to block again and other issues start to happen, and then you realize, "Oh, I need to really pay attention to the stress that I'm building up or create balance." But just the idea between me investing in my future self, like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I struggled as a young student way back when,
Mm-hmm.
to where I am now. I feel like I'm catching up on
Yeah.
what I need to learn right now because I'm like I can actually retain this stuff really well.
Yeah.
But now realizing that I'm getting older, and that's when the struggles of the mental blockage and the fogginess start to really happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm investing in my future self by living
Yeah.
this lifestyle because and here's the other thing is that they are all of a sudden there's some research that is actually coming out now that gives keto a good name because of the mental
Mental
clarity
health.
and
Was that on
the
the
mental
Today
health.
Show?
They're on the Today Show, yes. But listen, this lifestyle has been around for a very, very long time. It is not a fad diet. It is not something new. It's just something that people are actually saying
Yeah.
like, oh, well, maybe this actually is something that could work for other people
Yeah.
other than, children with epilepsy or things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of our clients' greatest excitements is that they can think clearly. The brain
mhm.
fog is gone and they can think clearly for the first time. That is one of the most exciting things that we get to watch. We get a front row seat to all of these things. And for sometimes it's hard when a client is so hyper focused on the scale. It's so hard to get them to see what they're really doing to their body and how many years they're getting back in their health journey. And sometimes we need to focus more on these kinds of things and what you're really doing to heal your body. And that's our goal as coaches, is to get our clients to see that the victory doesn't really necessarily lie on the scale,
Right.
because obesity and the things that they are struggling with, it's a cause and effect.
The symptom, yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
symptom of what's really going on. What's really going on is insulin resistance, is a
Yeah.
broken pancreas, is a broken liver. That's what's really going on. And when we fix that, the weight just drops off, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we hope this helped you today. We hope it wasn't too sciencey. We hope it wasn't too unsciency. If you really want the sciencey stuff and you really want to get all of those things, and you want to learn about the pancreas and you want to learn about the official stuff, go see Dr. Lustig's book, Metabolical. It will change
Yeah.
your life. And then
Yeah.
give us a call. We will help you off of this sick care system that is going on, that we have today. There's a reason why we are the sickest that we've ever been, and yet we have the most doctors and the most expensive hospitals. There's a reason for that. But it's time that we jump off of that circle and say, you know what? We're going to take our health into our own hands, because we believe that there's a way that we can fix it on our own. Do we
Right.
need doctors? Yeah, I beat up
Yep.
on them a lot, but I really, and there are more and more coming out now that say, I want off of that medication cycle. I want to fix my patients' root
Yeah.
issues. And we love those doctors. We love to
Yes.
work with them. So we are so glad you joined us today. Please join us every week as we talk about a new topic of the week. And the sun came out over here, so we went from tornado weather to almost sunshine, and the dogs are all calm. Everything is calm. So it was a rocky start for us, let me tell you.
Right.
All right, guys, we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.